As I traveled across the island, a few things became very clear to me. First, I visited a relatively new housing development, less than 5 years old. Here's an image of that development. Many of the houses lost their roof. Yes, the development sits on a hill, but that alone should not explain the level of damage we saw. What disappointed me most is that these were modern homes owned by people who, in many cases, lost everything. I won't name the development because that's not the purpose of this discussion. But when I drove to another nearby development, the contrast was striking. Those homes stood up to the hurricane. Their roofs were clearly designed to withstand high winds, and most of them were intact. That comparison raised serious questions. When I visited yet another development, one built around 2020, I noticed that almost every roof had survived, with the exception of 1 or 2 homes. The construction quality was evident. These roofs were made from galvanized zinc, a material that has stood the test of time when properly installed. That is a clear sign of good craftsmanship and accountable construction practices. So yes, there are multiple issues at play here: how builders build, how accountable they are, and how standards are enforced. When I visited individual communities and looked more closely, my concerns deepened. That's what pushed me to go further and start researching what can be done to make us safer in the future. What I showed you earlier, homes, churches, schools, that devastation is real. Many church roofs failed, not only because they may not have been properly strapped, but also because churches often have large roof spans. I'm not an engineer, but larger spans demand stronger structural solution. Schools were affected too, and that should concern all of us. This brings us to an important question: plywood. Plywood is being used extensively in rebuilding, especially by people who simply don't have access to more expensive materials. Should we blame plywood, or should we look deeper? Hurricane Melissa forces us to think differently. Yes, we must rebuild quickly. Yes, the urgency is real, but rushing and making poor construction choices can put us right back where we started. Climate patterns suggest storms will be just as bad or worse in the future. So how do we rebuild wooden homes to be stronger? After every major storm, if you look closely, patterns emerge. Many of the homes hit hardest were wooden structures, but that doesn't automatically mean wood is the problem. The real issue is more complex. Is a plywood home a death trap waiting for the next hurricane? Or is plywood simply an affordable, immediate solution when families have lost everything and just need shelter? The truth is this: when people lose everything, the first priority is a roof over their heads. You use what's available. Plywood becomes a patch, a temporary wall, an emergency solution. When I visited an elderly man recently and contributed funds to help him rebuild, along with others who also contributed, I found myself asking, will he rebuild with plywood alone, or will safeguards be put in place? That question is why I made this video. The temptation is to blame the material and stop there. Plywood isn't strong enough. End of discussion. But that's not the full story. Based on the research I've done, the real problem isn't wood, it's how the wood is assembled. I showed you earlier a development where roofs failed completely. People lost million-dollar homes. Yet I can also show you a wooden family home built in the 1940s. My family home, that is still standing. It survived Hurricane Charlie, Hurricane Gilbert, and now Hurricane Melissa. I'll replace a few zinc sheets, but that house remains solid. That structure is part of my family's legacy, and I will protect it. Engineers see this pattern repeatedly. Older wooden buildings often outperform newer ones because they were built correctly. The core issue is structural continuity. Everything must be tied together. If you don't use hurricane straps, it's like placing a lid on a jar without screwing it on. When strong winds come, the roof lifts, Walls collapse and failure cascades. Tacking plywood onto a frame instead of integrating it into a structural system is another major problem. These aren't minor mistakes. As one expert put it, these are not little oopsies. These are big issues. So how do we get this right? The good news is this: hurricane-resistant wooden homes are not a fantasy. They are achievable. There are 4 key principles. First, the house must be securely bolted to the foundation so it cannot slide or lift. Second, walls should be built using stronger lumber, 2x6 instead of 2x4, to improve load resistance. Third, diagonal bracing must be added to prevent walls from collapsing under lateral winds. And finally, everything, from foundation to roof, must be tied together into one continuous structural system. Think of hurricane straps as stitches holding the entire skeleton together. Once the frame is strong, plywood can become part of the solution rather than the problem. Plywood should not be treated as cosmetic wall covering. It can function as armor. When properly installed, plywood creates what engineers call a shear wall, a wall designed to resist wind forces. Research from the University of Hawaii tested walls under simulated hurricane conditions, including flying debris. Standard walls failed. Even half-inch plywood failed. But walls using thicker 5/8 inch or 3/4 inch plywood perform significantly better. Thickness matters. To use plywood correctly, use sufficient thickness, at least 7/16 of an inch, preferably thicker. Use corrosion-resistant screws. Follow correct fastening patterns. Screws every 6 inches along edges. Ensure screws penetrate deeply into studs. But strength alone isn't enough. In the tropics, moisture, rot, and termites are constant threats. Termites feed on cellulose, the organic fiber in wood. To protect against them, break the connection between soil and wood. Fix leaks that provide moisture. Remove nearby wood piles and stumps. To fight rot, install a water-resistant barrier. Use proper roof overhangs. Seal joints and edges. Allow walls to breathe so moisture can escape. When you put all of this together, building resilient wooden homes isn't about expensive technology. It's about smart choices, good craftsmanship, and accountability from the foundation up. There's even a bonus. Well-built wooden homes cool faster than concrete structures, which absorb heat all day and release it at night. That means greater comfort and lower electricity costs. This isn't just about individual homes. It's a national conversation. Architects and engineers in Jamaica are calling for a shift toward resilient construction, including engineered timber. The final question is this: we know more storms are coming. It's not if, it's when. Now that we know how to build safer, stronger homes, the choice is ours. Do we rebuild the same vulnerabilities, or do we build a resilient future?
Every time the wind rises, every time the sea roars, we hold each other tighter. From Charlie to Melissa, we rebuild, we remember, we rise again. It started a long time when King passed through. 1950 shake the town in two. Charlie follow bring grief and flame, but the heart of the people never the same. Hand to hand them patch the road, hammer and nail rebuild the abode. From parish to parish, the spirit one voice. We now bow down, we have to rejoice.
We will survive, we will rise, under storm and under skies. We build again, we heal again. Our courage never dies. We plant again, we sing again. Together we revive.
From Charlie
she roar and spin. Tear down walls, but now we within. Fields wash out, tower bend low, but the people lights still start to glow. From the east to west, from hill to bay, the whole land rise at break of day. We will survive, we will rise, with faith beneath the skies. We build again, we dream again, our heartbeat never dies. We stand again, we sing again, our spirit kept alive.
From Charlie to Melissa,
Jamaica, we survive.
so when the next wind whisper name, remember we have walked through flame. Every time we fall, we rise again.
For this silence